All right, so to make this true, A would need to be -3. I really liked how I saw some people do something like this. -6, 2A equals -6 divided by 2. I saw that on some of the boards today. That's good. Okay. So for the second one, what could B be to make it equal 0?
0.
0. 0 times 7 is 0. Okay, next one. It's 5. Because if I put 5 in there, I got 7 times 0. And the last one, G or H can be 0. It doesn't matter which one, because you know my very fancy technical words. 0 times some junk equals 0. And 0 times some junk equals 0. No, 0. 0 plus junk would equal junk. 0 times junk is always 0. So now we're going to give this a fancy name. And everybody right now is writing this in their math notebooks. It is called the zero product property. Really, this is the fancy words for 0 times junk is 0. Okay? Either way, A or B. If I can get either one equals 0, the whole thing is 0. We already know this from looking at factored form. So this is review. We just have a fancy name for it now. So again, you've already seen this when you had something like x plus 3 times x minus 4 equals 0. You guys got really good at looking at this and saying x can be -3 or 4. Because either way, it equals 0. So this is not new. New terminology. The zero product property. It sounds very official. The ZPP. Okay? Yeah. If you want to put it like in a rap song, you could say like, you can rhyme stuff with that. Because then it, E. I guess property has it either way. Okay. Easy. See what I just did there, James? Okay. So I want the solution or solutions to each one of these now. Remember, mistakes are cool. I can use them. I use lots of mistakes every day, all right? So if you're not 100%, that's cool. Get an answer. Let's use your mistake. Okay. So I'm seeing some people do some interesting things. The solution is just x equals number. Okay? So I see some people making things in standard form. That will not help us. We learned yesterday that standard form is actually really hard with our skill set to find solutions. So to get this to equal 0, I'm going to add 3 to both sides here. X would equal 3 to make number 1 0. And you can always substitute it back in. Okay? Number 2, x would be -11 to make it equal 0. Number 3, if 2x is -11, x is -11 halves. Some of you wrote -5.5. It's the same thing. So 5's where stuff starts getting fun.
Well, huh?
5's where stuff starts getting fun.
I put -5.5.
Yeah, that's good. For number 4, remember back to A times B equals 0. You wrote down that either one of those can be 0, right? Because 0 times junk is 0. So this x would tell me, x in this case is 0. And this one tells me that x would be -11 halves or -5.5. It would be both of those for number 4. So number 5. There's going to be 2 answers here again because 0 times something and something times 0 both 0. So one thing you can do, and this is kind of a simple one, so it's not bad to set it up like this. I can say x minus 3 needs to equal 0, and so does x plus 11. And that would mean, and this is a little overkill for this simple one maybe, but again, not bad to practice. That means for number 5, x can either be 3 or -11. Like this is review. We did this last quiz, last unit, unit 6. All right? If I put 3 here, I get 0 times stuff is 0. If I put -11 here, -11 or 0 times stuff is 0. So for 6, I can have this one be x equals 3, and this one be x equals -11 halves. And number 7, there's 3 things, right? Is everybody seeing 3 things? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So if this is 0, 0 times junk is 0 times junk is 0. What could this one be? To make the whole thing 0. -3. And this one would be 4/3. Any of those. And again, this one, maybe you're not just seeing it. That's fine. You know that if you get that to equal 0, the whole thing's 0. And then you can get after it like a two-step equation here. There's your 4/3 right there. Yeah, Greta.
How do you get negative 11 halves from 2x?
Yeah, so, 2x minus 11.
Oh.
So I'm going to highlight where I did the work for that. So I subtracted 11 from both sides and then divided by 2. Well, negative 11 divided by 2 is 11 halves. Some people wrote negative 5.5. That's cool. You can use that too. I like fractions, so a lot of times I keep stuff in fractions. James.
So when you're saying like or, like one,
It's both, like they.
I can say either basically.
Yeah, or and, yeah. Yep, there's 2 answers to some of these, right?
So I like both one of them, but
You need both of them.
I do.
Yes, because there's 2 places. Really what's happening sometimes in a parabola, there's 2 places where it crosses x.
Alright, yeah.
Sometimes there's no place or one place, but sometimes there's 2 places. All right, so we're going to point out here. This is the same function. We've got standard, and we've got factored. The question is, which one of these forms allows you to use the zero product rule? Let's take a vote. Who thinks standard form allows us to use the zero product rule? Who thinks factored form does? Factored work, yeah, factored. Because if I set that equal to 0, I got 2 things. If I set this equal to 0, I've got 2 variables to mess with instead of 1, a t squared and a t. Okay, so this answer is number 1. So your job is now, without graphing, when is the height 0? How much time when the height is 0? This could have been on your last quiz, guys. This is some serious review. Let's get after it. More time will not fix this. Throw down the answer you think it is on your vertical board. Okay, some places I'm seeing 2 answers. Some places I'm seeing 1 answer. All right. Okay. It is 6 seconds. When the height is 0, six seconds would make the whole thing 0. So the other thing that would also make it 0 is negative 3/5. However, does that make sense in context for a time? No, guys. So if you and your group are like not seeing, this is a look at it, know it situation, and this is actually from the last unit. So you gotta find where at in your mind where you're missing something, because the only big idea here is if I can get one thing to equal 0, what does the whole thing equal? 0. The way we get this to equal 0 is at 6 seconds. 6 minus 6 is 0. 6 seconds is when that hits the ground. All right. Now here's a fun one, just for extra. Where was it launched from?
18.
How do I know it's 18? That is the y-intercept. Okay. Lesson summary, friends. You have to show me to get your homework. Yo, let's look at the lesson summary together. If I can get this whole thing to equal 0, yeah, you can break it. I can get this to equal 0 by adding 2.345. That's one of them. Yeah, I like that you say that, but a bunch of people struggled on this one, and it's the same exact concept. If I can get this to equal 0, because the zero product property, it all equals 0. There's my negative 1/7. Don't go fraction there. The fraction just gets you close.